Walking naked should stop in Uganda. I am a Ugandan who wants peace for everybody. Don't make my eyes get attracted by the way you walk. Amin was handling it single-handedly. Why should we have all these ills in Uganda? Failing to put Uganda right morally. Thank you.
Pastor Mada, let me give you some 3 minutes to react.
Thank you very much. One, I'm surprised that people can get opportunity to speak out of ignorance. I've been at the forefront of promoting morals in this country. On the 3rd of October last year, I was convicted because of my stand against homosexuality, because I referred boys to police who were accusing a fellow pastor of sodomizing them. None of you has been put to court and convicted. I have. I know how stinking rotten the police is. I know how stinking rotten the Justice Department is. And these parliamentarians and the honorable minister is not even ashamed coming up with a law knowing that the police is stinking rotten, the judiciary is stinking rotten, the DPP is stinking rotten. When police manufactures evidence to incriminate innocent people, and then the judiciary condemns us, a magistrate condemns us without even giving us the opportunity to defend ourselves, then I'm surprised that you can speak with such ignorance. Now, what is the problem? You all know that we have a problem of mob justice in this country. And it is growing. Why is it growing? It's because people are disgusted with the systems that are supposed to enforce the law and ensure justice and redress to the heart. The systems are rotten. They are not working. They are covering up criminals. They are actually abetting offenders. In 2010, a teacher in Luwero was convicted for sodomizing 2 boys using the penal code, section 145, and these are the judgments. And then legislators come up and tell us that there is no law. Why is it that when victims go to police to report, they become the accused? Why is it that the police surgeons falsify results and you are coming up with another law when the systems are rotten and you are manufacturing laws, giving them to the very systems? In 2007, this is the bill, this is the law that was assented to by the President of the Republic of Uganda to protect boys and girls from defilement, and section 129 of the penal code was amended. Why is it that men rape young boys and also young girls, and they go scot-free? The problem is not the law, but the systems that are supposed to enforce the law and ensure justice and redress. And no matter how many laws we have, Honorable Okodo, this is my call to you. I'm a moralist. Right now, I'm from Wakiso Secondary School for the Deaf to sensitize them about the challenge and dangers of indulgence in homosexuality. Government has not paid me. People out there who are viewing have not paid me, but I've gone because of my love for this country. I think I'm a nationalist. I love this country. That is why I've risked. I've gone to police cells, I've gone to court cells, and I'm a convict because of my stand, just like Jesus Christ, my mentor. That is why I'm saying it is spending, wasting taxpayers' money, debating this bill when we have the Penal Code Act, section 166, which clearly prohibits pornography.
Okay.
Let it be enforced. Let the systems work. Let the Uganda Communication Commission work. Why is it that when police wants to arrest people, it can even manufacture laws, and they call it preventive arrest? Why is it that police cannot go? You go to Chisenyi, the adulterating feeds. You go to NASA and all these printeries. They are printing labels of human drugs, and people are dying. Expired drugs are relabeled. Poor quality drugs are labeled. Made in UK, made in Germany. And the systems, they work within the nose of the police. Every criminal on the streets of Kampala has a connection with the police. The police, why is His Excellency the President, why has he arrested some police officers? Afande Kayihura is struggling with these police officers. He has undressed some, he has imprisoned some. So, Lee Kuan Yew said, this was the Premier of Singapore, that to understand the present and anticipate the future. One must know the past enough to have a sense of the history of the people. I come to understand that our legislators, our executive, has no knowledge of what people at the grassroots are actually facing and the cause of our problems.
Okay,
That is why they are coming up with irrelevant laws instead of dealing with the systems, clean up the systems, and then you'll see me doing. Honorable Okodo, let us start a
Pastor Male,
sensitization
we've run
program
out of time.
so that we can have the morals right.
All right. Let's have Simon Peter reacting on dress codes from the Bible. Please make it brief.
Yes, from the Old Testament, the Bible discourages women putting on like men. I want to think that God knows that our shapes are a little different. But also Paul tells Timothy in 1 Timothy 2:9 that women should adorn themselves in a respectable attire. I like that so much, with modesty and self-control. And then Peter says in 1 Peter 3, he says, do not let your adorning be external. Your dressing should not be external, but should be inside the heart. So he deals with the morals. And the final one, somebody was asking about the women, why men were touched by women. In Genesis, when God was creating woman, he caused man to sleep. And when he created woman, man said, wow. So man is really moved by seeing woman. Very perfect. We have nothing to do about that, but we work on our morals, we work on our controls, and I think that's a key thing.
All right. Just quickly, this issue of dress code, does the Bible talk about trousers? Because if I'm to ask you, is a t-shirt a man's cloth or a women's cloth?
Yes, in the Bible it does that. In the Old Testament,
Does it talk about...
It does that. It talks.
In the Old Testament, the Bible forbids men to dress like women and forbids women to dress like men.
So the
if you
trouser,
put on,
the trouser.
if a woman puts on a male's clothing, that is unbiblical. And if a man puts on women's clothing, that is unbiblical. And that is why if a man put on a dress and passed, I'm sure police, if diligent and honest, would arrest him. What does your conscience tell you? Because conscience is the best instructor and disciplinarian of a human being.
Let me go back to the audience.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. I want to thank the Honorable Minister for Ethics and Integrity. But my worry is, even before it goes through the Parliament, the Minister is already withdrawing. I want to say I am 110% behind you, sir, on my behalf, that don't even feel shy of saying it is Honorable Okodo's law. After all, history will judge. God has never killed Satan. He knows that Satan corrupts people and causes people into problems. But he brought Jesus to lead the right way, and Satan to put them in what? In the wrong. So that the right people can continue pulling the what? So our brothers, the lawyers, you know where you belong. Uganda must be Uganda. We cannot be like Americans.
I want to just only commend Father Okodo and people in the ministry for coming up with a bill to see that they address such issues, because in every society there should be somebody to regulate society. If society goes without regulation, we shall be in anarchy, and we will be in a disorganized society. First of all, to convict someone, you don't know how much money is being spent to convict just someone of an offense. It's a lot of money, investigations, people go around and around and around. So it takes a lot of money. So what I could suggest is this: we should address this issue holistically.
Okay.
By all stakeholders.
I want to assure Ugandans that the biggest challenge we have in Uganda is that politicians have overridden. And secondly, Pastor, you talked about the issue that you brought here. I know, for him it's right, because the biggest challenge we have is that the moment he disagrees with his donor, Madam, he will not get that donation. So I want Ugandans to note one thing, that Ugandans have got a vision. Whether you are on donor or individuals, Uganda must have a direction.
One thing I've realized today is the issue of separating church and state is very important, because you can't run a country from religious laws. You see, people have been quoting the Bible, it says this and this. Unfortunately, we don't have a Muslim here and no one has quoted the Quran. But all these things are subject to debate. Some people see them as folk tales. these are foreign cultures, these Jewish cultures and Arab cultures. And then we start saying we are copying and pasting from the whites. So when we talk about Christianity, isn't it copying and pasting? Those who did literature at A level during my times must have come across a book called The Devil's Disciple. This book was about Puritans, people who want to pretend to be very pure. And these days I'm seeing a streak of Puritanism in Ugandan society. From all these bills, the anti-homosexuality bill, what? Because to me these things, it's like someone going and peeping into a keyhole to see what someone is doing in his bedroom. These kind of legislations, now, tomorrow are we going to legislate against people who aren't wearing underpants and knickers? You know, we are talking so much about sex these days, and we are leaving out the important matters. So I think as Ugandans, we are losing track. Madam, you know there are times when I doubt God. Let me tell you the truth. Yes. But there are times when I see this, you know, I call him the supreme designer. This guy was so wise, if he exists, God. Because if God hadn't attached procreation to sex, I'm telling you there would be people coming out and saying, let us ban sex. But sex survived because of only one thing. Because for generations to go on, it is out of sex that human life goes on. But if it wasn't attached, if human life wasn't attached to sex, I'm telling you, you would be seeing Puritans coming here and saying, let's ban sex altogether.
Someone talked about the family and he made me good. The family is the smallest unit of a society. If we go back and say the society is the best. So I want to use a model that I don't know way to work out positive inquiry.
Okay.
Be positive. Let me ask this question, then I go away. The question is, Father Rokodo, is that you're asking about, what about social media? You know, social media is a big problem now. Will you control the social media? You do not have control over social media. That is the problem we are having in Uganda. You do not have Facebook, internet, Twitter. How are you going to deal with it? Because it is the big problem that we're having, and I don't know whether you have control over social media.
I'm going to invite Honorable to come in. There is Sarah Bareche from Muntungamo district saying that the youth who majorly involved in pornography have poor role models. They are looking up especially to persuasive singers and many things in the show business. And then the Honorable Minister is right. This is from Colin. In fact, once one has a strong lawyer to manipulate an obviously criminal case through invoking or quoting loopholes of the articles of that case, then this person will go scot-free. I give you 2 minutes, ma'am.
First, I want to say that we are not saying that the anti-pornography bill should not be there, but we are saying, will it address this situation or not? This is our greatest concern. So where somebody said that if you eat food, do you have to stop eating food? We are saying no, we have to continue eating food. We eat food and it has to be digested. You don't have to eat food which is not going to be digested. Food is there to build the body. So if we make the laws, let the laws be implemented to address the situations that are at hand. We don't have to make laws, compiling them just like that, piling the laws, and they're not addressing the existing situation. Then we are saying that let's make laws that are implementable. We don't have to make laws that are not implementable. A situation where you are saying somebody who is watching in the premise, which premise in this case? Which premise in particular? Then, here you are saying that the functions of the committee will be to educate and sensitize the public about pornography. Before we brought in the committee, what has the ministry done to educate the masses outside there about the dangers of pornography? To summarize it all, here in the bill, it's unfortunate we don't see anything coming out about sex working. It is not clearly stipulated in the bill. We need it to come out clearly. The issue of sex working should be out clearly, and also in a means era. When Amin said there is no way one should put on sandals and go with it to town. If you put on sandals, you are made to eat it. What are we going to do as Ugandans so that this law, when it is enacted, it will be implemented?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me borrow, which is, I don't know whether my producer will allow, but let me borrow some 3 minutes from the next programs on our different networks to give the minister.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I want to use this opportunity to thank the contributors to the discussion of the topic, and especially those who have been very supportive. I feel encouraged and really, how would you call it, elated, because I get to know their brothers and sisters outside there who are feeling the same way for the good of the people. Unlike others who are resigned, they're seeing no future, and therefore it's a waste of time to legislate since other laws have not been put in place. My brother said there, probably this could be one of those that will be effectively implemented. That's one great encouragement. Two, I still want to emphasize that this is a fact, this is a reality, this is a situation that is gnawing the moral fabric of our people. And it is very clear outside there that there is agony. The new generation, the so-called .com generation, unfortunately, is perverted. I also want to agree that the way to go is not to remain alone, but we need concerted efforts. You mentioned, Madam, about stakeholders. It is true. Anything can only take root if it is, how do you say, attended to by all stakeholders and multifacetedly attended to. It's therefore an opportunity for me to address the family members, the parents, that you have an obligation, a moral obligation, to see that your children grow positively, and not tomorrow become a scandal. You will be remembered for children who have only caused more shame and disorder to this country. That's very bad. Two, I have an opportunity to challenge my colleagues in the ministry, the pastoral agents, the faith-based organizations. It is almost coming to be accepted that we have to blame somewhere. Probably our emphasis, our zeal, and determination in imparting this message are slackened. And that is why probably things are getting off hand. It is a challenge to the pastors. And I am ashamed that we have been mentioned also in these very wrongs that we are condemning. And it is very painful to know that we still live and remain with an exposure which is contrary to our own profound identity. I have known of pastors who are abusing their flock. I have known of pastors who are diverting the orientation and doing things that are contrary to nature, yet there's the people who are the eye. These are the centenaries. Right?
Some 30 seconds.
I want, therefore, to appeal that this bill be given its natural process to be enacted into law, because it will go a long way in protecting our morals and saving our children, especially the infant class, from damnation and destruction. I thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. That is the Minister in charge of Ethics and Integrity. And here on UBC Ground Zero, we've been discussing the anti-pornography bill and how far it will go to address the challenges of moral degeneration and loss of moral values. The discussion doesn't end here, though, because it's still a bill, and it's still in transformation, like the Reverend Honorable Simon Lokodo said. So that still goes back. And most outstanding, many members talked about national ethics and family guidelines. He talked about the National Ethical Values Policy, and we can't wait to see that one there. So here at UBC Anti-Pornography, we've been discussing this one. We hope that when this bill comes and whatever happens with the bill, indeed we can have moral values being reintroduced back into society. So thank you so much for joining us, our listeners on all our UBC network radios, as well as UBC TV. Thank you very much. And for our listeners and those of you who are here, this program